All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checker TV. It's race number 2 of the playoffs here tonight at Daytona International Speedway. As you can see, 75 laps is the race distance tonight. Track temp gonna be nice and cool right now, 74 degrees, 69 degrees ambient. So it's going to warm up as the race goes on, of course. Right now it's still actually showing about 9:30 in the morning, so that could be something to keep an eye on. We'll see if the track temperature maybe starts to rise, maybe makes these truck drive a little differently as the race progresses. But right now, qualifying going on for our drivers tonight. However, one of the big things we're going to have to talk about tonight is the points battle. Going into tonight's race, after last week, Gabe Butler getting that big win. He's got a 7-point margin over JD Crow and Sebastian Marin. Those two tied for second place. Robert Rock there solidly in third, only 9 out of the lead. And then you see you got Steve Krosek there, 14 out. Dean Wilkinson in sixth position, 18 out. And then you got 28 and 25 for the remainder of our playoff contenders. So, I mean, still 25-point swing between first and eighth right now in the points. And, I mean, we know how much you can gain and lose race by race. So, it's going to be very interesting to see how it's all going to pan out here tonight. So, like I said, obviously, Gabe definitely liking where he is, but knowing that he's got 3 more races to try to hold that points gap against some very, very tough competition. So, I'll have to wait and see as qualifying is going on at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on those lap times and numbers and see where it's gonna all line up. Because the other thing is, again, there's playoff drivers that can play spoiler to this, and I'm looking at the list here, and we've got some of the big hitters that we've seen that aren't in the playoffs but know how to go fast and are very good racers and drafters. Those are the 2 Groover brothers of Seth and Patrick. So definitely I'll be keeping an eye out for that 01 and the 02 truck. And then we mentioned as well in some of the previous broadcasts, you've got the Lamb family. So we'll always have to keep an eye on them as well. The other thing, of course, we always want to talk about are what bonus points are available. So pole position's a bonus point right off the bat. Highest climber, also a bonus point. Of course, leading lap, leading the most laps. You get a bonus point for each of those. You win the race, you get 1 bonus point there as well. And then of course making it to the end of the race and finishing the race, you get 1 there as well. So basically if you win the race, almost a 2 bonus point right off the bat there. And the biggest one though, if you can run this race incident free, you have 0x in the race, that means no going through the grass, no contact with another car, 3 bonus points there. So those, I was saying, that's incentive to try to have a clean race, which, I mean, you're kind of at the nature of the beast with some of the guys around you, of course, in these races. I mean, because unfortunately, from time to time, you're going to get caught up in incidents. So these guys are going to have to work real hard to try to keep the front of those trucks clean here tonight at Daytona. Yeah, solo tonight here. Muff, I say my normal partner in crime, Brandon. He's got some. It looks like he's getting to play some real race cars. So say I definitely can't be one to take that away from him by any means. So say unfortunately at the moment rolling solo. We'll see if anybody decides to hop in. Sometimes I'll get the occasional peek in from a Maxwell Caldwell or someone like that. So you never know. Say I might get a surprise guest to join me in the broadcast booth tonight. Hopefully I do. It's always fun to kind of bounce things back and forth with some of my friends and competitors and honestly teammates, if you will. So it's gonna be fun to see here. And that being said, though, also really glad to have you part of watching tonight. So I know you've been wanting somebody to do some streaming. I say it's a different kind of streaming, of course, with the broadcast, but I say it's always a pleasure to have you be part of the chat here. Say, give me something to keep an eye on as the race goes on. However, with that, qualifying has completed. And actually, a lot of drivers opting not to put down a qualifying lap, but we're going to have, I say this is a rare occurrence here at this Super Speedway series, and that's going to be that it is not Sebastian Marin on pole position here tonight. It's actually going to be that one of Gabe Butler taking the pole position there by almost 0.02 of a second in Daytona Super Speedway terms. That's a pretty big gap there. So you're going to have Sebastian Marin there second, Zachary Lima there in third, JD Crow fourth. Then you got Charles Johnson, Seth Groover, Joe Delavecia, Randy Minor, Robert DuPont, and Bud Steele rounding our top 10. And then, as I mentioned, a lot of drivers opting not to qualify from 11th on back. So you're going to have Patrick Groover, Jack Walls. We'll continue moving down the order here. You've got Rob Malone, Robert Rock, Eric Laurie, Bob Fitzgerald, Todd Siebels, Jeff Lamb, Dustin Lamb, and Nicholas Lamb. So we talked about the Lamb family, and they're all rocking together there, right there, 18th, 19th, and 20th. So I say starting in the back, would not be surprised to see them work their way up forward through the course of the race here, because I say they've definitely been progressing a lot over the course of this season. That being said, though, definitely a shorter field here tonight. Only 20 trucks taking grid. I say still a pretty good count, but we've been seeing upper in the upper 20s, even 30s on a lot of races. So definitely a smaller field here. And so I think that honestly, kind of feel like that plays a little bit into the hands of those playoff drivers towards the front of the field, as if they do have a bad race, it's going to be less positions risk to drop down to. So that when your worst case scenario, you finish 20th versus finishing 30th or things of that nature. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on as well. So yeah, so far our playoff drivers though right now, so you got Gabe Butler on pole position, Sebastian Marin there in the second position, also in the playoffs, and then you've got Zachary Lima not in the playoffs, but always going to be, I think he's going to be extremely important for Sebastian Marin's chances. We saw JD Crow, Gabe Butler, those two worked extremely well together, also playoff drivers, and then Joe Delavecia in the 052, another one of the Dale Cup guys in that seventh position, as you see. So who was that taking out the cone? I think that was Randy Minor taking out some aggression on that poor innocent green cone, which I say you can see jokes on him, came right on back. But then say some drivers starting further back though. Robert Rock, I think he's opting to try to get maybe that highest climber award in that 171 truck. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on him. So we'll see kind of where he lines up tonight. Bud Steele in the sixth truck in the ninth position. And then Dean Wilkinson, I don't think I see Dean in the running order, unfortunately, tonight. So it's one of the playoff drivers not making it this evening. Same for Steve Krosek, unfortunately, not here tonight. I think may have actually, unfortunately, I say, looks like may have stepped away from iRacing for a little while. So definitely going to miss Steve on track. I say he's always definitely been one to keep things interesting. So actually going to be missing a couple for playoff drivers. Probably that leaves us, I would say, roughly about 6 drivers in the playoffs here in this field. So that's, again, I think that's just going to make it all the tighter up front here. All right, pace car coming through 3 and 4. It'll drop off. Then once that green flag flies, we'll get underway. 75 laps, scheduled distance, fuel window low 20. So expect a 3-stop race here tonight. And so we'll see what the strategy is, because right now Gabe is separated. So you can kind of see the Dale Cup guys and then Gabe Butler and JD Crow kind of separated in the lanes here. So we'll see what's going to be the best approach as we go green here. 75 laps again, race distance tonight at Daytona. So far, so good. You see the one, again, shorter distance round. He's going to definitely pull a little bit of a lead here out of turn number 2, but then usually the outside line will prevail, start to really build that momentum off of turn number 2, and you see it right there. There goes that 23. Sebastian Marin just gets a nose ahead, but you can see not quite enough, obviously not enough to clear entering turn number 3. And then again, that shorter distance is going to be, once again, an advantage for that number 1 truck. So now it's going to be that drag race off of 4 to see who's going to lead lap number 1. Right now, looking very good for that one truck. Let's say, but he's going to have to kind of be watching his mirror with that 95 of Zachary Lima behind him, because if Zachary gets the opportunity, I'm sure you're going to see him jump up and try to lead his teammate to the front there in that 23 machine. Like I said, right now, these guys who are used to working with each other, just right now kind of stuck in opposite lanes here. You see right now the field all holding pretty steady here, but easily within the draft as they run here. You can see a big chunk of single file on the middle pack right now. You got about the front 3 rows here, double file with that 23, 35, and 02 on the top side. Then you got a bunch of trucks running single file here on that inside line. Then you got to go a little further back though. Eric Laurie and Todd Siebels, I don't think they don't want to be rolling too far back here. They're going to try to make their way forward a little bit more here, working that top side, trying to get around Rob Malone there in the 47. And it looks like they're also trying to bring along the 010 of Dustin Lamb. I think he's got some ideas as well to try to get a little further up the pack here on the beginning portion of this race. Or also might just be trying to get a little bit of get a little bit more viewing area, because when you run that inside line, when everybody's pinched together, you get a really difficult time. You can't really see what's going on too far ahead of you. So I say we'll actually hop on board with that 010, and so we can get a view exactly of what we're talking about here. So you can see Dustin Lamb right now. Well, that's actually showing the wrong car number with the truck. I'm not sure why that's happening. There we go. Now it's updating correctly. So you see that 010 truck though. I say got a good looking, almost kind of a tied paint scheme with the Lamb Motorsports on the side of it. So a really cool looking truck there. But yeah, when you run the inside of me, you can see right here in front of you, you have really no vision of what's going on in front. But then you switch to Patrick Gruber, and look how much visibility he has in comparison to the guys on the inside line. And that's a good reason why you might feel more comfortable running that middle to top line. As you see also that truck in front, I believe that might be Rob Malone. A little bit of connection difficulty there for that 47 truck. Always makes these guys in the back a little bit more nervous right behind him. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. But I'm going to go back up front here, because I see that 02 truck of Seth Gruber. Not sure if that was a 3-wide move to try to move forward, or if he's just trying to roll a little bit further back, maybe try to pick up his brother potentially. But we talked about those 2 trucks, Eric Laurie and Todd Siebels, and sure enough, they have made their way into the front portion of this pack. And we talked about these guys running double wide for the first 3 rows. Now we're got about 5 rows double wide as they start right now, starting lap number 5 of 75. And do need to mention up front, you see that 23 now, again, still just a nose ahead for that 23 of Sebastian Marin. So I haven't been keeping an eye to see who's been leading laps right now, but you can see these two. It's just kind of who has the momentum at the right time. So wouldn't be surprised if that 23 has been able to grab a lap lead. And if he hasn't, this is looking like a really good opportunity for him to maybe get that lap right here. If you're Gabe Butler, I think you're liking life right now, because you've got the Dale Cup guys split up on the lines. You've got the 23 on the outside, the 95 on the inside. That being said, you see the 23 getting a great push here down the back. Not quite enough though. But what you're doing is, I mean, you've got them split up, and then you've also, again, you've got that yellow line that's kind of your little protector, if you will, where again, rules are not to pass below that yellow line. So I mean, he's just going to hug that yellow line, keep that track position, and keep that draft obviously with that 95. We know how good of a pusher Zachary is, and then it kind of forces Sebastian out. He's going to have to require help from that 35 of JD Crow. But right now, again, I don't think these guys are really too worried about really kind of pushing and shoving now. Again, also with that, again, that 20 truck count, I think these guys really probably want to see this thing go green and let it play out that way versus getting too aggressive too early. But again, as I say that, Sebastian Marin once again gets a really good push here down the back, but as you can see, gets about halfway up to that one truck, but just not enough to clear. So right now, these guys all holding pretty steady right now. So I think Gabe probably liking life where he's sitting right now, kind of just able to control the pace of this race right now, not really having any serious threats to his lead right here. And so yeah, so you can see again, you see the ticker on the left, the top 20 trucks, or I should say the 20 trucks in the race. And with all these guys starting to double up now, you can see first to 20th, only 1.6 seconds between that first truck and the last truck. And I mean, that just shows how much the draft plays a role in this one. I mean, 1.6 seconds at any other track feels like eternity to try to close that gap, but here at Daytona, so you pretty much blink and you're going to go from that first truck to the last truck. So we'll get a kind of a good picture of that right here as the field comes through here out of turn number 4. Saying don't look now, but I see a couple of Nintendo trucks looking like they're about to get hooked up together, and that's going to be Patrick and Seth Gruber. And we've seen what those two can do with one another. So right now you can see right there, Seth is trying to steal just maybe a little more draft off the inside line and then jump up to the top to pick up that 01 truck. But now you wonder, are these guys content on just kind of riding here double file? Or is Patrick going to want to consider making a move? And I think we're just about to get our answer right here. We'll hop on board with that 02 truck. I'll say we'll watch from the top here and see if they can work this top side. As our first one up is going to be that 071 of Eric Laurie. But look at that. As soon as that opening jump to the top, you see JD Crow. He wasted no time. He said, yeah, I see that move you guys are doing. I'm going to jump up here. You're going to push me to the front. So you can see those two trucks both going to clear the 23. However, the 0 and 2, they're going to stay locked on together because they're not done. They weren't content to push the 35. They want to get themselves up and control this race. Like I said, they may not be in the playoffs, but they're definitely in it to win it here tonight. As now we're going to go 3 by 3 here. You got the 35, the 23 on the middle, the 02, the 01 on the outside, and the 1 and the 95 on the inside line. And so we're going to be going 3 by 3 here for a couple of rows right now. But right now it looks like the momentum is just fizzled out a little bit here for those two trucks on that outside line. That being said, though, I don't think we're going to see them give up at this point. There's going to definitely be another charge at some point here sooner than later. But actually, see right there, they actually fell in line here. They drop in behind that 35, or sorry, not the 35, the 23 of Zachary, or Sebastian Marin. I'm mixing up drivers here. So yeah, so they're going to stay 2 by 2 actually now. Maybe just try to regroup a little bit, then make that second push one more time. But yeah, so right now, again, still holding pretty steady. Again, we talk about 1.6 seconds now. It's a whopping 2.3 seconds between first and 20th. But you can see they are starting to spread out a little bit more as they go through the back of the pack here. So the biggest gap right now I'm looking at is pretty much, I believe, between the 5 of Nicholas Lamb and then right behind him, Jeff Lamb. You can see there just a couple, about 0.3 of a second. Again, easily, safely able to regain that gap. But so you just never want to lose that momentum at the wrong time. And talk about some playoff drivers, though. Bud Steele in that 6 truck, the 171 Robert Rock, they're definitely playing it safe here early on. They probably saw that 3-wide action going as a big wiggle off of 4 there for Dustin Lamb. He's able to regain control there, but definitely, I'm sure, a little bit of a nervous moment there for those trucks right behind him. I mean, you just lose focus for just a split second. That's exactly what's going to happen with those trucks. So, it looks easy, and for a lot of people it is, but there's always a lot happening there when that's going on. However, while we were watching that, we've got a little bit of a shuffle towards the front. You see JD Crow, he's able to actually get to the inside line now in front of that one and Gabe Butler. And that's now allowing the 23 truck, Sebastian Marin. He's going to have a little bit more help now from that 01 and 02. And I would wager to say that 01 and 02 truck will be a little more aggressive on the push, really try to clear that 23 truck. As you can see, without a doubt here, Sebastian going to take, or actually, no, I'm sorry, he's still on the outside of the 35. There he is. So I was going to say he easily clears that one truck to lead that lap, but I had forgotten that 35 actually got around the one. So right now, JD Crow still holding control of this race in that number 35 machine. And right now, I'm going to say that Sebastian's going to be hard pressed to get around that 35 and the 1 combo. These two are very, very potent drafters with one another. So I think they're both in a very good position here. But you see right there at the line, this time we know for certain Sebastian Marin, he does get a lap led in that 23 truck around the 35 of JD Crow. We also know JD Crow's had a lap led in the 35, the one of Gabe Butler. So talk about bonus points. All three of those drivers all have a bonus point there for leading a lap. Of course, Gabe winning the pole position, that's going to give him a second bonus point right off the bat there as well. And then, of course, one of the other ones will be leading the most laps. And so, of course, that one's still going to be easily up for grabs here as we're only on lap 15 of 75. But what is going to be coming up very shortly here is going to be our first set of potentially green flag pit stops here. Usually it's in the low 20s or so when the max that they can run these trucks out. Will be a 3-stop race. So that's going to be the next question, is to see when do these trucks dive in. Is there any strategy? Can they maybe split these 3 stops up a little bit shorter? Because one of the big things you can do is maybe take a little less fuel, make that pit stop a little bit shorter, but of course then a gamble if you get to green-white checkered territory come the end of the race. So we'll have to kind of wait and see if this all comes into fruition or if it's all for naught. But right now it looks like these guys all holding pretty steady, but in about 3-4 laps time, you know those trucks on the outside line, the 23, the 01, the 02, and actually look at that. We talked about the 6 of Bud Steele just kind of cruising there. Look at him. He all of a sudden he's rolled back up into the mix in this one. I was like, he decided he wants to join this party as well. So I say Bud was towards the back, decided, you know what, I've been sitting long enough. I'm going to jump back to the front here as well. And again, I don't know why. I say apologies for the timing or the truck picture not to be showing correctly. Just every so often doesn't want to update. So not sure what's going on there, but obviously not the 6 Navy truck that you see in that overlay. And so maybe JD Crow is able to bribe the SDK guys to be like, hey, I want to show my truck more than these other guys. So that might be why we were seeing a little bit more of that 35. I say it's a good looking paint scheme, but I say I don't want to confuse people showing the wrong truck at the wrong time. But what I am seeing though, I think I'm seeing probably a little bit of maybe teamwork or partnership here between that 6 and the 83 Bud Steele Jack Walls. These two have raced multiple seasons with each other here at Area 51, so I could easily see those two trying to lock on together and work together to work their way towards the front here. The question again is if and when they want to try to pull that third line out of the hat. But again, I think right now, I think really the great equalizer is going to be pit stops. I think that's going to really be where things are going to be made or broken in this race here. If we get that green flag pit stop window, that's really when things will start shaking up the order. Alright, so you see we're starting on lap number 19, so again, that fuel window is going to be opening up very shortly. I think we're seeing exactly that right now. I'm looking at Zachary Lima, and I'm kind of seeing a little bit of an opening forming here, and I'm wondering if that was to try to let his teammate in that 23 be able to drop down, but the problem is that 23 isn't going to be able to back that truck down enough because he's getting just a complete push from that 01 of Patrick Gruber, apologies. So I'll say right now, I say honestly, might be better off to try to get shoved all the way to the front here. But look at the big wiggle there for that 23 truck, but able to clear. But you saw right there that 01 truck got a little wiggly. He was also trying to, trying to stay right behind that truck and just wasn't ready for him to drop down there. So it was a big moment there between those two trucks, but luckily both trucks able to keep it pointed the right direction. As I was saying, I think that again that's going to really be the telltale here. I think pit stops very soon happening. Honestly, Muff, I think for the teammate stuff, I don't think it's ever going to get thrown out the window. These teams have just shown how unselfish they are, and they're just the dedication they have between like the Dale Cup guys, the Roswell team. It's pretty impressive, actually. I do see a couple trucks hitting pit road now, and it looks like it's going to be the Lamb family all hitting pit road here. You got Jeff Lamb, Dustin Lamb, and Nicholas Lamb all coming in together here. This is coming to lap number 21, so they're going to opt for the slightly short pit. They could probably go a little further, but they're going to try to pit just that little bit earlier here. So we'll see how that's going to pan out for them. Again, looks like they all hit their pit stalls pretty... Oh, no, I'm sorry, the 67, Jeff Lamb just a little bit too far forward. He's going to have to back that truck up. That's going to cost him a lot of time in the draft. So unfortunately, most likely going to be kind of trapped on his own there. So we'll keep an eye on that. But right now, I think we're about to see that pit window for our leaders here open up in just a moment as well. The question is who goes maybe that little extra distance further. But look at this. They are all coming in. We got the whole field coming and hit pit road here. This is where things get very touch and go. As you see the 35. He goes around on the entry there. He hits the wall. He's going to hold the brakes down and try to avoid any contact there. And that's going to stack guys up just a little bit behind him. So unfortunately, JD Crow, that's going to be a huge hindrance to his progression here tonight. As we see the rest of the field hitting pit road right now, is pretty much everybody hit their stall. You see the 95 overshot just by a little bit there. And now you see the 35. He hits pit road. I was thinking the same thing. Well, as soon as I said it, I was like, that might not be the right way to phrase that. But you see as the field's going to come out of pit road, it's going to be Sebastian Marin winning the race off of pit road. Gabe Butler a couple truck lengths behind. But really the big gainer here, Charles Johnson on that 9 truck, he's going to jump out in that 3rd position. And then you got Joe Delavecia and Randy Miner here. So now it's going to be, again, to see how split up the trucks get here as they build their speed right now. And we did mention, though, so we're going to let everybody build up and get back fully up to speed. Hopefully no mistakes on pit exit. But right now it looks like probably about 14 trucks are going to be part of this lead pack once it's all said and done. The ones that are going to have some work to do include that 35 of JD Crow, also the 6 of Bud Steele's back there. But they're going to be able to pick up the Lamb family right here. You've got Dustin and Nicholas. They'll be able to tag onto them. But you see also, look at the damage on JD Crow's truck. I believe he actually may have had some contact getting slowed down for pits, and that might be where that damage came into play. So I'm going to go back while things are kind of getting up to speed here. See if we can find exactly what happened to that 35 truck, because that is, not to steal a phrase from somebody, but there are some pretty serious playoff implications on that one. Alright, so we're going to jump to the pit entry. You can already see he's already got the damage. Let's go back a little further here. Get a better angle of this. Alright, so now we're going to watch that 35. You got the 1 truck behind him. Was there any contact? Because right now that truck looks to be in good shape. So yeah, so there was contact here for JD Crow. So we'll speed it up a little bit. Then we're going to whoa it back down. Actually, no, the back just looks like maybe too much rear brake. Just steps around on him. And then that's, I'm sorry, yeah, and that's where the back end damage comes from. So yeah, just a little bit, maybe too heavy of a rear brake that unfortunately spins him around. But you can see he is with a group of trucks here, I believe. Actually, let me get back. We're back live. Yeah, so JD Crow right now is leading this group. They've got about just a few more seconds. They'll be able to get to Eric Laurie, who's off on his own, so that's going to add to the truck count. But right now, I think I missed some more action here. Let's go back some more. I think something has happened to Seth and Patrick Groover, because they are pretty far off this draft group. So while we're looking at that, I may have missed something else, so apologies there as well. I'm not seeing anything obvious, so we'll let it be for now, because we're going to jump back up front though, because again, we talked about the Dale Cup guys being a little bit split up here. You've actually got now Joe Delavecia of that group on the outside line with Zachary Lima behind him, and then you've got the 23 of Sebastian Marin leading that inside line with Gabe Butler behind him. So you've got the Dale Cup guys right now honestly in pretty much a perfect position here. They can kind of just control this pace right now. Let's say, because right now they're leading the inside and outside lines, and again, Gabe Butler, he's pretty much trapped on the yellow line, can't obviously go below that 23 truck. So right now things are looking very good for those Dale Cup guys. But as I say that, Joe Delavecia gets a huge push down the back, not quite enough to clear though. So they're going to stay side by side there, and you see also the 45 of Todd Siebels. He's joined the mix here as well in that 45. So right now, pretty much a 8-truck breakaway from Sebastian Marin to Robert DuPont are right now our leading trucks. And right now our highest climber as they run is that 45 of Todd Siebels right now, plus 11 from his starting position. And then, oh, we got Jack Walls. I think he's just had a moment. Oh yeah, he's sliding through the grass here. What happened to Jack? Probably a bump draft gone wrong. But he does stay on the right side of the cone there, so no, shouldn't get any penalty there. What has happened to Jack here? Say, oh yeah, you see the 0-2 contact with the 83 there. And actually, yeah, it catches the outside wall there as well. But the reason why no yellow there, as you can see, Jack's able to keep that truck pointing straight the 0-2 as well. But unfortunately, Jack goes for a ride here, so that's going to cost him obviously a fair bit of damage and the draft as well. So it's just, again, spreading this field out even more. Because right now, like I said, with Randy Minor, Robert DuPont, now 9th place Patrick Groover, he is 11 seconds off the lead, and that number is growing and growing quickly as he's got Robert Rock and Rob Malone with him. But then you've got to go another 4 seconds back to JD Crow, who's got a little bit more help with Bud Steele, Nicholas, and Dustin Lamb. As Seth Groover hits pit road, I think to probably get that damage repaired on the 0-2 truck. So yeah, the field, like I said, after that pit stop, field's really, really spreading out right here. So what this has also really done is, again, it's splitting up the teams a little bit. Like I said, you got the Dale Cup guys. They're in a great position right here. They are, again, leading the inside line, top 2 of the outside line. Gabe Butler, he's lost his helper with that number 35 of JD Crow with his pit miscue. So now is Gabe maybe trying to work a little bit, maybe trying to find some help. Maybe he's able to get a little bit of assistance from the 9 of Charles Johnson, the 45 of Todd Siebels, Randy Minor, Robert DuPont. Maybe he can work a little bit of magic with those guys. You see right there the 0-2 Seth Groover got the damage repairs in and jumped straight to the top to let the leaders go on by. Doesn't want to affect the outcome of this race. If he's lucky, if he can build up just enough speed here in that 0-2 truck, might be able to tag onto the back of this lead pack and then be able to still make some really good time. And just will need a lucky, basically a timely caution to be able to help his chances out. And it's going to be tight, but I think he might be able to hang on to the back of these guys. He's going to be really going after it as much as he can, that 45 of Todd Siebels. Do need to mention also Jack Walls on pit road as well in that 83 truck. Looks like getting services done to his truck down and away. Looks like also a fast repair there as well. So he's going to also now come out a lap down behind the 0-2 truck of Seth Groover, unfortunately. So I say Jack's going to definitely need a lot of help as well on his situation. I think I'm seeing right there, you see Todd Siebels, I think actually probably trying to help that 0-2 truck out a little bit, dropped back to pick him up. Now they got to make sure they drag back up together, because right now Todd's about half a second off of Randy Minor, but again, half a second should be easily doable. I'm watching the interval as we speak, and that gap is continuing to close, so I think Todd's going to be in a safe spot here to regain the momentum to Robert DuPont. As right now, as things, I think these guys are just right now pretty much just biding their time, honestly. So with that, let me run through the field. Haven't done that this evening. Right now, kind of back and forth, but right now leading is between that 23 of Sebastian Marin, the 052 of Joe Delavecia, both playoff contenders. In third position, that 1 truck of Gabe Butler. And then next to him, the 95 of Zachary Lima. Rounding out our top 5, you got the 9 truck right there of Charles Johnson. Behind him, the 101 of Randy Minor. Then Robert DuPont sits in the 7th position. You see they're going around Eric Laurie there. Put Eric now a lap down. Actually, I think 2 laps down. And then Todd Siebels in the 8th position. And right now he is the last truck on the lead lap in that 45 machine. Then you got to go 16 seconds back now to JD Crow, who had caught that other group. So right now JD Crow leading that second group here with Bud Steele in 10th behind him. And then in 11th, you've got Nicholas Lamb in the 5, Dustin Lamb in 12th. Patrick Gruber behind them in the 13th position. See a little bit of left side damage, driver door damage to that 01 truck. Another playoff contender, Robert Rock, in 14th. And then Rob Malone right now in the 15th position, the last truck in this draft as well. And then a few more at risk of getting lapped right here. The 67 of Jeff Lamb, who's working with Bob Fitzgerald. They sit 16th and 17th respectively. And then we drop to the first trucks 1 lap down, including the 02 of Seth Gruber. And then the 83 of Jack Walls, who again, unfortunately, just seems to keep finding himself kind of stuck on his own. And then as well the 071 of Eric Rory, who has gotten onto this draft here, but again sits 2 laps down here, unfortunately. So yeah, so right now I honestly would say things pretty calm up front here. Like I said, I'm sure Joe's feeling pretty confident with Zachary Lima behind him, knows how good of a pusher he is. And again, I think right now, really, I think their goal here is just to try to control this race, just kind of run at their pace, stay side by side, because again, the third lane's not as easy to make happen here. And I mean, if you're Gabe Butler, you're pretty much trapped right now. The only option you'd have is if you could drop back behind the 95, then try to move to the front. But when you got trucks behind you, I mean, it's just going to cause an accordion effect behind you. So I think Gabe right now probably just saving fuel, biding his time. Maybe even tries to either undercut or overcut, go either a lap earlier or later than the Dale Cup guys. See if he can find some teams to work with, again, to try to go potentially a little bit off strategy. So we'll see if that comes into play at all or not in this race, because right now we're on 34 of 75. They all pitted around 21 last time, 2021. So based on those numbers, we will likely see them be pitting again around lap 40 to 41. So about 7-8 more laps for these guys up front. However, you see they are catching some lap traffic here. This is where it gets a little dicey. You see one inside, one outside. Now they get organized here. They're going to both jump to the top side. This is where things always get a little sketchy because, again, it's a narrower track. It's easy to make little mistakes here. But it looks like both drivers there do a great job. And so they should, if all goes well, they should be able to tag onto the back of this draft here, right behind that 45 of Todd Siebels. And you can see they're definitely trying to get that done right as we speak. Yeah, so you just got to make sure that they get single filed here. We'll jump back to that second pack being led by JD Crow. Lap time wise, unfortunately, they are a fair bit behind. It was a 48.04 for Sebastian Marin to a 48.85 for JD Crow. So about 0.8 of a second slower from this first group to the second group. And I mean, you look at the damage on 35 truck, he may not be the prime candidate to be leading this pack right now. So he's got a little bit of rear damage, he's got a little bit of left or right front damage as well to that truck. I don't know if he is really the one you want to be leading this pack here. Probably, honestly, Bud Steele should be taking over lead duties there. But at the same time, you lose a lot of time when you start swapping positions. So right now, we'll see if once they get to pit stops, that might be the opportunity for them to make those changes. The next thing that's going to be coming up is that battle for the Lucky Dog, and I think that's exactly why you see Seth Gruber now. He's worked his way to the top side in that 02 truck because he's got to make sure he keeps that 08 of Bob Fitzgerald behind him, because if a yellow does come out, as long as he's not involved, that's going to allow the 02 truck to get that Lucky Dog position. So I'll have to keep an eye on that as well. You see the 45 Todd Siebels dropping back behind the 08. And unfortunately, I think Jeff Lamb here might just be a little too far back here, unfortunately, to pick up the draft. So, yeah, he's dropped about 2 seconds off of Bob. Unfortunately, I think that's going to now, that truck, if you're in that truck, you just hear the RPMs. You literally can hear the RPMs drop, just losing that extra clean air on losing the draft, I should say, of those trucks in front of you. So, unfortunately, that's going to be a real tough one a pill to swallow for that truck to basically just now at this point he's going to have to wait for the next group of trucks to get to him, which right now they're sitting about almost a half a lap behind him as they run. You see the 02 here, it actually looks like he's dropping back to maybe try to pick up Jack Walls here. And what that's done though is that's now allowed Bob Fitzgerald here to put himself in that Lucky Dog position. So I'll have to keep an eye on that 08 and the 02. Again, that would be the battle for that Lucky Dog. So we'll keep an eye on those two to see how that battle continues on. Because again, I mean, right now, like I said, everybody's being calm, but just honestly, just one push gone wrong can really change the outcome of these races. So, I mean, and we've seen how sensitive these trucks are with pushing, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But right now, you see, again, we're approaching lap 39 here, so pit stop window is going to be opening very soon. So you start to wonder if some of these guys might start jockeying for a position to get to that inside line, the 052, the 95. They're going to need to find their way to the inside line here at some point. The question is, though, is the 23 going to be able to find a way to get them maybe down in front of him? But again, he's going to have that one truck of Gabe Butler. I don't see Gabe wanting to just roll off and let them on by. I feel like if you're Gabe, you probably want to actually keep the pressure on that 23 truck and make those two teammates have to drop a little further back before they have to find their opening to get into the pits. So it's, again, a lot to play for here. It's going to be a lot of gamesmanship. That's just the nature of super speedway racing. It's something that these guys are going to have to do. So yeah, right now, like I said, we're starting now lap number 40 as we speak. So again, they went 21 last time, so if they can run the same mileage, that puts them to lap 42. But at the same time, they have been leading this pack here for a lot longer, so they haven't been able to save as much fuel. So you just have to wonder, is there the potential that they might have to make that pit stop? But we'll be keeping an eye, because I mean, at some point, I feel like you're going to see Joe Delavecia. He's going to have to get probably really aggressive on that push. But you see, or I should say, Zachary Lima going to get aggressive in the push on Joe, but just right now just is not happening. Like I said, honestly, I think this is probably Gabe's best interest to keep his bumper on that 23 truck to make sure they don't have that opportunity to drop down low. But you see right there, the 052 is able to get down in front of the 23. The 95 not able to as of yet. That's going to be the next goal. But you can see with all this jockeying for position, trying to get down to the inside, you see a lot more movement up front, and that's where things get really dicey. So now for Zachary Lima, he's hoping he can get that big push and also get a little bit of help from the 052, and he does exactly that. As soon as he was cleared, he drops to the inside line. And that's exactly what those Dale Cup guys were hoping for, if they could get those three locked on together here for that pit stop entry, which most likely, I feel like out of three, or out of four, I should say, we'll probably see them drop down. But actually, no, they're going to go another lap, making good fuel numbers out of these trucks up front here. Maybe that pace will slow down a little bit, save that extra lap or two of fuel. So I'll have to keep an eye on that as well up front. But now you've got those two trucks that are a lap or more down, the 02, the 83. They're thinking on their side they can go a little further. They had to pit under green flag conditions, and saying those are two trucks that had gotten together, I believe, earlier. Now they work together here to try to help each of their own chances. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on that as well. All right, here comes our pit stops, and you can see, again, big spread out for the guys up front. There are a couple trucks going to go a little further, so this is going to be a split strategy here. So you've got the three Dale Cup drivers. You got the 101 of Randy Miner with him. It's also brought Todd Siebels and the 08 of Bob Fitzgerald. So it looks like about 6 trucks all hitting pit road. But it's going to be Gabe Butler who's going to go one more lap in this one truck. He's going to now have to try to hustle here. He's going to be wanting the 83 and the 02 to be pushing very aggressively, try to make as much lap time as you can to be able to try to see if you can jump those guys, maybe going the overcut, if you will, versus the undercut, going that one lap later. Also could be an opportunity for these guys to have to take just a little bit less fuel on that final pit stop. So we're going to keep an eye on that one truck, because I think we're going to see the 1, the 9, the 07, and the 47, the 71. Yeah, here they all come together. You see everybody starts to spread out once again. It's also going to pick up the 02 here. That's probably a pretty good acquisition there. And it looks like everybody got in pretty cleanly here. So that's going to be now the next group of trucks to hit pit road. All right, so we're watching. You see the 02 truck already down and away again. Shorter pit stop for him because he had more fuel in the tank from when he last pitted. So now you see the 1 and the 9. They're going to lock on together. So what we're going to do here is we're going to watch off the back of Gabe Butler because we're going to be looking for those Dale Cup guys, and I believe they're already through the tri-oval here, heading down into turn number 1. So now it's going to be all about getting that pit exit right now. And see, I think job number 1 here is to try to stay in their draft. But you can see there goes the 23 and the 95. And here comes the other 3 trucks with them. This is going to be close. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough for them to tag onto the back, because you can see they are drafting very aggressively. Now that's a pretty big gap. I don't know if they're going to be able to regain that. However, I'm going to add on to the fact, or I'm going to add on here. I have a friend that's been able to hop in the booth here with me. So Matt, as always, sir, it's a pleasure. Glad you're able to sneak in here. It's always fun to have some more people to bounce things off of. I know you're very familiar with the Super Speedway Series on the Xfinity side. We got the trucks here tonight. So far, it's been clean and green, but we've still got one more pit stop to go. And every pit stop, it seems like these fields are starting to spread out just that little bit more.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that Charles Johnson and Gabe Butler pitted a lap later. If I was a bet man, I would have pitted with that 23 car. Right. As far as the Xfinity side, he knows what he's doing. He's a very good driver, and see who else. Joe, I have no idea. Can't pronounce his last name. I have never seen that man before.
Joe Delavecia. He is one of the Dale Cup guys, and he's a playoff contender here. So I mean, he knows a thing or two about what he's doing with these trucks. I'm also watching the interval behind, because I'm watching the 02 truck. I think he might be playing a little bit of helper here of Seth Gruber, trying to stay just close enough to the trucks in front of him, but also be able to maybe try to tag on to Gabe Butler, because Gabe and Charles, they are pushing hard right now. 47.53 for that one truck, 47.95 for Sebastian Marin, so about 0.4 of a second quicker for Gabe here. He's doing everything in his power to hold on, get back to this lead pack draft.
Yeah, that lap car, Seth Gruber, is really helping Gabe and Charles there. Hopefully he can get back up there.
As you see, there's Seth. He's going to actually jump to the top side. And yeah, that's a big help right there. And I think, honestly, those little bit of drafts that they had right there is going to be exactly what they need to make it happen, because they're actually picking up a few more trucks here now. They've got Jeff Lamb. They're going to jump to the outside. And then the teammate, the teammate of that number 1 truck, the 071 of Eric Laurie. So I say the downside is, yeah, they didn't want to go to the outside of him. They wanted to stay low there. But I think they're going to be in a good position, because actually last time by Charles Johnson, fastest lap of the race, 46.87 to 47.64 for Sebastian Marin. Charles is just shoving the rear bumper of that one truck.
Well, I remember back in the good old days, the old truck series, we used to run at Daytona a lot, and they were really easy to push. I have never run a truck series, the new one, at Daytona or Talladega. Hopefully it's pretty decent. You'll be able to lock on their bumpers pretty good.
It's been a little sketchy, I must admit, from when these guys get real aggressive on the drafting. It does not seem to kind of cooperate very well, but I think for Gabe Butler, he's probably going to be having to add Charles Johnson to his Christmas card list if he hasn't already. And then also he's going to be definitely adding that 02 truck of Seth Gruber again right now. Unfortunately for Seth, a lap down with getting caught up in an earlier incident, having to pit unscheduled. But you saw, I mean, he did exactly, I think, what we were talking about there. He rolled out of it a little bit, helped pick up that draft for that one truck and the nine truck. And, I mean, he just basically helped them propel themselves straight back to that lead pack. So it's exactly the opposite of what those Dale Cup trucks were looking for, as they right now control 1 through 3 here up front. But again, though, we still got one more stop to go, and I think this is now where the strategy is going to come into play, Matt, because these trucks, they can go pretty much about 21, 23 laps, it seems like was roughly the window. And so they're not going to have to do a full fuel run to the end here at this point. And with that, I feel like the 1 and the 9 probably lost any advantage that they had pitting that one lap later, just by how hard they had to drive to get back up into that lead pack. But maybe there's an opportunity for that 1 and the 9 take just that little splash of fuel less than these guys up front, and maybe we look at seeing some short pit strategy, like once the window is open instead of running it dry.
You just answered my question I was about to ask you. I said how much of these guys were going to have to run 23 laps. If I was any of these drivers, I'd put about halfway, so you only get 1 can of fuel. Spend about less time on pit road as much as you can.
Yeah, and I'm in agreement with you there as well. As yeah, you have the option, of course. I mean, do they pit at I don't think they pit at, let's say 23 to go, but maybe let's say 20 to go, because of course, I mean, there's always that potential of a late caution. Let's say with 2 or 3 to go, put you into green white checker territory. You never want to have to be that truck to lose that lead or top 3 position to have to put a splash of fuel in. So I think these guys will probably plan on going just a little bit longer than they have to. But the other thing, though, is we just saw the 1 in the 9 truck. They went that lap later, and it almost burned them. So do they want to risk doing that, or at this point, do they just need to mirror those Dale Cup guys, and as soon as they see them duck off, do they got to jump in there with them?
Yeah, I totally agree with you 100%.
So we'll have to wait and see. I say we still got 25 laps to go. I say we're at 2/3 of the way done, third of the race left to go. Yeah, and exactly, Adam. That's exactly right. And then it's the what about the green white checkered, and the thing is, there's 3 attempts of it here. So you might put in your numbers like, okay, yeah, this will be enough to make it 1. Of course, you can save lots of fuel on your yellow, shut the truck off, let it coast, but. I mean, the thing is, these guys, they know better than I do. I mean, they've done the numbers. They know exactly when probably is the right time to make that pit stop, and when they're in the window plus a green white checkers, they know how much they can save under yellow. I mean, say they've got. I say they don't have the magic fuel maps like the Indy cars, Matt. There's no map 8 on these trucks, but I mean, I say they've pretty much got a map 0 if you shut that motor off and let it coast. Because unlike the Indy cars, say these things are a lot easier to refire.
Just a little secret, you can actually turn off the Indy car.
I've done it, and I've also done it where it didn't want to start back up. So I live on under caution. I live on map 8. I'm not willing to make that risk. I've seen drivers more talented than I, such as yourself, able to do so. But yeah, my abilities though not quite there. So right now though, what I'm gonna do is while we're pretty calm here, so I'm going to see if hopefully my little timing and scoring thing pops up correctly once more. We're going to run through the field, and no, it's definitely still... There we go. Now we got it working again. So right now our race leader, Sebastian Marin in that 23 truck, again, one of our championship competitors. Zachary Lima behind him, not in the playoffs, but definitely is going to be one of the best friends to the Dale Cup guys if the opportunity presents itself. And then you got another Dale Cup guy in the playoffs, Joe Delavecia in that 052 truck. And then, like I said, Todd Siebel's highest climber right now, 13 spots gained from that number 45 machine. And right behind him, Randy Miner. I say those two, I could definitely see them pairing up once it's go time. But these guys, they don't like to show their hand until it's absolutely time to do so. So, as I don't expect anything crazy from them as of yet. We talked about Gabe Butler, Charles Johnson, 6th and 7th positions. Went 1 lap later on their pit stop. However, really had to fight hard and honestly got a big break from that 02 truck of Seth Gruber to get back into that draft of the leaders. So again, like I said, I think that 02 truck is going to have to be added to that Christmas card list. But then 7 trucks in this lead pack, you see there's more there, but they're all a lap or more down. You've got to go 35 seconds back until you get to 8th position of Robert DuPont in that 07 truck. And he's got this, it's a pretty good group of trucks here. You got the 6 of Bud Steele, who's actually trying to work the outside here to grab that 8th position. I think he probably feels like he's got a little more pace there, and he's also got a really good pusher now of JD Crow, another one of our playoff contenders as well. So let's say they're going to have to really fight hard again to try. And actually, JD has yet to use his fast repair, so he's still sitting with that in his back pocket should he need it. And then right behind him, you've got Patrick Groover in the 01 truck, Robert Rock in the 11th position, also one of our playoff contenders in 11th. And then we just talked about Robert DuPont. He's gone now from the 8th position down to 12th there when they just went ahead and swung on by there. And then that's where we start getting to those trucks a lap or more down, which right now, Seth Groover, he is the lucky dog position truck here, Matt, in the 02. Sits in 13th, is the furthest up of those in that pack, but he's got him right behind him. And saying the thing is, he's got pretty much the Lamb family right there as well, so he's got to be real careful not to get ganged up on, because you got Nicholas Lamb right behind him in the 5, and then also the 47, Rob Malone. So you got 3 trucks in the lucky dog position, all right there, just pretty much nose to tail here. And then, unfortunately for other drivers here, Bob Fitzgerald still sits 1 lap down, but is in that 2nd pack, so he's pretty much out of the running here unless all those other lap trucks get involved in the incident. And then trucks more than 1 lap down, you've got the 67 of Jeff Lamb, currently 2 laps down. Jack Walls also 2 laps down, and yet once more, poor Jack still stuck off on his own. it's just not been the night here for that 83 truck. And then Dustin Lamb right now also 2 laps down here in that second pack. And then Eric Laurie 3 down at the moment. But I'll say the thing for Eric is, yeah, it's not where he wants his race to be at the moment. However, if he gets the opportunity, if he gets locked on behind that number 071 truck, or sorry, if the 071 gets locked behind the 1 truck, that's going to be a potent doing. But here goes, Matt. Look, here's the strategy. Yep, right here, coming 20 to go. We've got 3 trucks, and Eric Laurie, like you talk about teammates.
Yeah, I expected Eric Laurie to come in. You are exactly right.
So they're going for the undercut this time around, saying they're going to basically just take the bare amount of fuel they need to make it to the end. And again, if they can go 23 laps on fuel, they're pitting here 19 to go. So now they've got to hit their pits. Can't overshoot their stall. So far, so good. Looks like the left side's tires going on for that 1 truck. Eric Laurie already down and away. So I think these guys, yeah, I think you look at there, you see the 07, he actually stops to make sure he picks up that 9 truck. Now they got to get quickly organized here to try to keep that draft pace up. But also, though, Matt, look a little further back to them. They're going to be getting caught here pretty shortly by Bud Steele and company. This could be perfect for these guys because they're going to actually possibly tag on to the draft of these trucks behind them. Just going to help pick up that pace even more. But we'll see, because actually right now, even after that pit stop right now, Charles Johnson still's got about 5 seconds gap over Bud Steele. But need to mention Randy Minor, Todd Siebels, they're also going for it. They're going to pit a little earlier here. The 101 and the 45, they hit pit road that next time around. So we'll see what they're able to do here as well.
You know what can make this just a little bit spicy? I was watching the lap car of the last lapped car, and they were just about 1 turn away from turn 1, turn 2. It looks like the leaders are going to run into lap traffic just before the end of the race.
Oh yeah, you're right. It looks like Jack Walls would be the first of those that they would get to. So yeah, right now, so basically the lead pack right now, you've got the Dale Cup guys top 3.
Look at that, they're taking up some tow.
Yeah, that's a good, and that's gonna be the next thing here, Matt. Is once they fully get back up to speed, I want to watch lap times. That's gonna be the crucial one as well. I want to see, actually, we need to check on Todd Siebels, Randy Minor, and yeah, look at that. They're actually going to come in right with Matt. They're going to come in right with Gabe Butler, Charles Johnson, Eric Laurie. So now they're going to have a 5 truck strong draft, I believe. So this could really help these guys as well. So like I said, I'm going to be watching lap times because now it's going to be all about how aggressive you can draft. And we talked about the risk versus reward of that. Last time by 0.3 of a second, well, let's say about 1/4 of a second advantage for the Dale Cup guys. It was a 48.07 to a 48.32 for Gabe, but we saw he had to go top to get around a couple of those trucks on the inside line. So I think this next time around will probably be the more accurate lap comparison. But I'm watching Zachary Lima right now, and he is just shoving that 23 for all he's worth. They know this is make or break point.
Yep. Sitting there watching, push him along.
And so you see they're actually coming up on one more truck around on the outside. I think that's Rob Malone, the 47. So if they can pick that, if that truck can join their draft again, might pick up that pace just a little bit more. But they're not going to wait any longer. They're going to hit pit road, and it looks like it's going to be 5 trucks hitting pit road. The 3 Dale Cup guys, the 02 there as well, and then I believe also Nicholas Lamb going to hit pit road along with them. So they went as far as they've dared to go. They don't want to wait too much longer. So now it's going to be, again, just where do these guys come out now in relation to Gabe Butler, Charles Johnson, and company. It's all about hitting their marks. And it looks like these guys nailed their pit stalls. Nobody overshoots their stops. Now they got to make sure that they get out synchronized. And, I mean, look at it. They all start rolling off pretty much simultaneously. I mean,
it's going to be close.
It is going to be tight here. We'll see if that undercut possibly works. But look at that 23. He is struggling for traction there. He was trying to get it to pick up. The back end just kept stepping out on him.
Oh, it's about to get spicy.
It's going to get very close. You see, there's the pack there right behind them. They're fully up to speed. These guys are starting to build speed now, coming down the backstretch, get the draft built up again. And you know they're going to lock on as aggressively as they can here because, like I said, it's now Zachary Lima leading Sebastian Marin over Joe Delavecia. But Gabe Butler, he's now about a second back and closing quickly. But can they build up that speed, build up that momentum before that one truck gets to them?
Looks like the Dale Cup guys prevailed. No? And corrected.
It's close. It's going to be very close now to say, we'll see, do they stay content on the inside? Does maybe one of them make a move to the top to try to slow the momentum? They do not. They're going to stay content with one another. And so now it's on here to the end. 14 to go. You got the 3 Dale Cup on the inside. You got the 1 Gabe Butler on the outside. I say now we're going to start seeing some very, very aggressive bump drafting to try to control. You can see the movement already. These guys are ready to try to control this race. They want to be that one to be up front.
Yeah, I was going to say that bottom line wasn't really organized, and then they finally got organized, and now look at the Dale Cup guys.
Yep, and now that's going to be the next question, and that's exactly what I see right there. As soon as I saw that opening for the 23 to the outside of the 95, that was going to be my question. Does Sebastian Marin, does he try to get around his teammate there of Zachary Lima? But now the question is, when he clears, does he drop back to the inside, or does he try to... Nope, he is. Okay, so he's going to pop back right in front of his teammate here. So the Dale Cup guys, again, going to continue on the inside line 1 through 3, but now just with the 23 of Sebastian Marin leading that pack. And honestly, I mean, again, we talk about the teamwork. These guys are just so selfless. Zachary Lima, you know he wants to win the race, but right now he's got 2 of his teammates in contention for that championship. The 23, he had an opportunity there to get to the front so they can make a push. Oh, we got one way slow on the apron here. That's the 67 of Jeff Lamb. Let's see, that could risk a caution if a truck comes around him too close while he's down on speed. So I'll have to keep an eye on that. You see here comes a 35 there of JD Crow, Bud Steele, Robert Rock. They just hit pit road for their final stop. So say they just try to run it as far as they could there before they finally had to give in.
Yeah, he's really, really super slow on the track. I'm surprised he ain't pulling off.
Yeah, at some point he's going to have to think about just escaping out because, like I said, yeah, he is on the apron. But again, if the field gets close enough to him, that could throw the yellow. So we'll have to keep an eye. Because again, I mean, also it's just one more thing for these kind of throw the driver's focus as well. So
we do have some cars coming off pit road.
Yeah, I think that was Bud Steele, Robert Rock, JD Crow, and he did the 67. He did tow to the pit, so that's going to keep us under green flag conditions there.
Good job. Great job.
Yeah, so he tried to limp it as far as he could, but unfortunately that's all he could do. As Patrick Groover and Robert DuPont, they just hit pit road here as well for their final scheduled stop. And so, yes, I mean, right now, again, we've got about 7 trucks in this lead pack going to be going for the win. And then, again, it's going to be 30, 35 seconds between those guys further back. So, really, for JD Crow, Bud Steele, Robert Rock, they just need to stay in front of these guys, not fall a lap down. Right now, they're probably still about 10, 15 seconds away from being lapped. So, never want to be that guy, but they're probably having to root for a caution here to put themselves back into the mix here for the win.
I kind of don't want to see yellow. I want to see this green the whole way. I kind of want to see how this thing all plays out. Here goes Gabe Butler for the lead.
Yeah, right now 10 to go at the line as the one truck gets just alongside the 23. Like I said, he's got Charles Johnson. Let's say he's going to be his best trend, it looks like, tonight. And then you got that 071 of Eric Laurie. We know how big of a help of a teammate that 071 is as well. So, again, not Eric's night tonight. Sits in 18th, I believe, 3 laps down as they run. But you know Eric's going to do everything they can. But what's going to throw a little bit of a wrench into this, you see they're coming up on the 08 truck here of Bob Fitzgerald. Bob's going to have to decide, does he go up to the wall? Does he drop down, slow down his pace and go to the apron? He's going to choose the wall, so these guys are going to have to be just a little cautious here, make sure that they don't catch him in a bad spot, which unfortunately they're going to catch him right at the exit. That's always a little dangerous spot, but it looks like Bob does a great job keeping it high enough for those guys to easily sneak on by.
Want to know how aggressive does Charles Johnson want to push Gabe Butler, just trying to get him to the win.
I mean, I think right now there's no sense of being too aggressive yet. I think once they get to that white, I think then that's when you lock on and you pretty much just shove for all your.
Here we go. Here's a big push.
Yeah, you're right. Gets a good push. Again, not quite enough to clear. Gets him back to the door of that 23. And you're always going to see that ebb and flow off of turn 2, off of turn 4. The outside line usually prevails a little bit. Inside line, of course, is going to gain the shorter distance through the turn. But yeah, I think we're going to really see the aggressive drafting happen. I think at the very, very last, pretty much last lap of this race, as I say.
Whoa! Oh! Oh, that was very close. And there, they all get up disorganized and watch the top line go. Maybe.
I say even with that, yeah, I mean, a quick and great recovery by Zachary Lima, and you see great heads up there as well. Joe Delavecia, he saw it happening. He rolled out of the throttle just enough to let Zachary get back up to the top. And even with all that, like you said, I mean, you would have thought that had been the momentum there. The one truck would be able to swing on right by, but the momentum actually stayed with the inside line. That's really impressive, and it also shows.
Whoa, little contact, save it.
They're still hanging on to it, trying to regroup.
They got it.
And that's going to really hurt the momentum now of the outside line. They have to regroup here, Matt, try to build that momentum right back up. But look at that, now changed the partner now. Again, now it's Seth Groover. He's a great pusher, so we've seen him and Patrick just do damage on the outside line, even on the third line. This could actually be a benefit for Gabe. I'll say one of those bad situations actually makes it a better situation for you. Because I say we also saw the 9 truck have a little bit of a blink issue there with a little bit of a connection hiccup. So, and I mean, look at that 0-2. He is locked right onto the back of that one truck.
Yep, there he goes.
Now as we cross the line here, 6 more to go. Again, 75 laps is a scheduled distance. There are, of course, the 3 attempts of a green-white checkered finish should we need it. So like Matt said, I think we want to see this go green to the end. If you're Bud Steele, Robert Rock, JD Crow, you'd love to see a yellow to put yourself back into the mix in this race. But we've got about 5.5 laps to kind of settle it out right now. And at this point, it's really anybody's guess, because right now it looks like it's going to be between the 1 and the 23. But again, I don't think we've seen the last of Randy Miner, Todd Siebels. There's at some point, I think we're going to see those two work the third line. Because yes, Daytona, it's a little tighter, a little narrower, but the temptation of trying to get a win is going to be there. And you already see the 101. I think he's starting to kind of just figure out, can he make that top side work, and when does he need to make that move? Because there he goes. He's already working that third line here with the 101 right now by himself. But I have a feeling he's going to see that 45 truck probably helping him once they really make the big move at the end.
I wonder if the one car actually does clear one of the Dale Cup guys before lap 75. Do you think that they're going to take advantage of him?
It's going to be a tough situation, because if the one clears, does he go to the bottom, or does he want to stay in the middle, be with his pusher right now, which is now again the 0-2 of Seth Groover. It's just. Yeah, it's a tough balance to make. Do you want to stay with your pusher? Because if you go to the inside, that opens up the opportunity where maybe the 23 of Sebastian Marin, maybe he's able to jump up to the top side. So it's gonna be it's hard to say. It's all gonna be to play for here as we're down to 4 to go. But like I said, I don't think we're done with that third line. I think Randy Miner, Todd Siebels, they're gonna be the ones that lead that outside line. The middle and inside line, there's no change there. The Dale Cup guys, they're pretty much right now committed to the inside line, and they're committed to each other. And the one truck of Gabe Butler, I think he's pretty much got to stay on that middle line basically and lead that middle groove. And then just he's got to hope that he's got some friends behind him, which he's been having with the 9 of Charles Johnson, now with that 0-2 of Seth Groover. And Eric Lorry's going to go wherever that one truck goes as well. So I think again, I think the dark horse are going to be that 101 and the 45 trucks here, as we're going to be coming up to 3 to go.
See, the 101 is starting to peek to the outside. Just looks like he's trying to send a signal to Todd Siebels back there.
Yeah, and I think when we saw him make that move once, that was kind of just the test. Okay, let me see how I feel. Make sure I'm comfortable with running that third line. Because if it's me in that 101 truck, I'm not a very good outside. I'm not a good wall rider. I say usually wall riding for me means hitting the wall. So I'm more of a bottom feeder in the super speeder racing. I just don't have that feel of where the outside of my truck or car, whatever I'm racing, is. So these guys, again, they make it look easy, and I think we're going to see that 101 truck. You just got to build the momentum at the right place at the right time to make that late charge.
Whoa, got a car come off pit road. Looks like he's getting out of the way.
Yeah, Jack Wall's hitting the pits. And that could slow the inside line a little bit, though, here, Matt. That could allow for some momentum to shift back to that top side. As you can see, I mean, every time at the line, it's thousandths of a second between these two trucks.
Yep.
And
there goes 101.
Yep, he's thinking about it. He's going to peak. Now the question is, you've seen Charles Johnson. He's stayed pretty dedicated to that one truck. We know Eric Laurie is going to stay with him. But what does Charles do? Does he maybe say, hey, I want to win one of these races myself. I'm going to jump to the top. But here they go again. There's the 101 to the truck. This time he does bring Todd Siebels to the top along with him.
It's game on now.
Yeah.
Here they come.
Yeah, I'm saying we're about, just a couple 100 feet before we get to the white flag, and say once that happens, all bets are off. It's pretty much who gets to the line first. And it looks like these guys are going to make it happen, so we've gone caution-free. We've got one to go here at Daytona. Is it going to be the 23, the 1? There goes Charles Johnson, like I talked about. He's going to jump to the top. Yeah, like I said, Charles is going to want to win this race for himself as well, but that's cost the outside line a little bit of momentum that could shift things back into the favor of the Dale Cup guys.
The O2 is going to have to push for what it's worth. Here comes Eric Laurie. Just stay with his buddy.
Yeah, the O2 is going to be the one's best friend, Eric Laurie. You know, he's going to stay committed, but here comes Charles Johnson. He's gone to the third line. He's made it to the second row. He needs just that little bit more to try to make it all the way to the front to have a chance at this one, but he's lost Todd Siebels now in that 45 truck. It looks like it's going to be a two-horse race between the 1 and the 23.
Oh, here we go. Gabe's got the momentum. Very close at the line. Oh, that's incorrect. Gabe got it.
That's going to pretty much kill all those drivers' 0 incident point race, but you're right, though. At the line, it's going to be Gabe Butler by, looks like, 100th of a second over Sebastian Marin. Zachary Lima in third. Then you got Joe Delavecia. We'll go back and we'll look at that one more time as they cross the line there. But yeah, you're exactly right, though, Matt. It looks like despite all of that, it's still going to be Gabe getting the win here tonight at Daytona. I mean, it's just everybody's starting to squeeze each other just that little extra, and unfortunately, it kind of that was the straw that broke the camel's back, and then that got them all across the line sideways there at the end.
What a push by Seth Groover.
Like I said, yeah, I think that one truck's going to be owing a Christmas card. Yeah, you can see right there, I think the 95 and the O2 may have had a little bit of contact, and you see that's what right hooks the 23, and then, yeah, just comes right up alongside the door of the one truck as well. Let me try to get a better angle of it here. There we go. Let's switch over to our finish line.
I'm happy with the W with the crash.
Yeah, so you're still happy to get the win. So you see right there, yeah, pretty much just the hood length between the 1 and the 23, and then you can see the 95 easily holds on to that third spot because again the O2 lap down, and then you see the 052 here right there to hold on to the 4th position. Charles Johnson made that outside move. He moves himself up into 5th as Todd Siebels grabs the 6th position in that 45. Then Randy Miner in 7th will be our top 7 finishers. However, as I say, then here's the aftermath. Everybody's spinning through the infield, but what we'll do here is before we pull up the interviews, let's show our race results. So yeah, it's going to be Gabe Butler 0.02 of a second over Sebastian Marin, Zachary Lima in 3rd, then Joe Delavecia, Charles Johnson our top 5, and Todd Siebels, Randy Miner, the remainder of that lead pack up front, and then the battle further on back, Bud Steele able to hold on to 8th over Robert Rock, Patrick Groover in 10th, and then JD Crow in 11th. Not the result he was looking for tonight. And then drivers a lap or more down, unfortunately, include Seth Groover, Nicholas Lamb, Robert DuPont, Rob Malone, Bob Fitzgerald, Jack Walls, and Eric Laurie. And then our last 2 finishers, unfortunately, Dustin and Jeff Lamb in 19th and 20th, respectively. And so with that, we got to chat with some drivers here. And we're going to kick it off with the 95 of Zachary Lima. I had to, of course, as always, get the, for whatever reason, having a little bit of hiccups with the overlays, but got it working now. So we're going to drag that number the 95 truck on in over here. Well, Zachary, I say everything was looking pretty good there. You guys got all lined up on that inside line. Was that the difference of having the inside versus the outside? If you could have run that middle, was that where you guys wanted to be there at the end?
No, I think it isn't the preferred lane at the end, but it was just where we were. We didn't really have the opportunity for all 3 of us to go to the middle, so you just rode it out there, and it was a tight finish, some good racing. It was fun.
Yeah, obviously go caution or free time. I mean, I was saying, I think for you guys, probably the pit stop you guys look at the closest there is probably that second stop where it looked like you guys had the 9, it pretty much separated where it was going to be you guys, and I think it was Todd Siebel's, Randy Miner, maybe kind of set it all between the 5 of you. Were you looking at the intervals, seeing if you were going to be able to dispatch of those 2 trucks, or did you have a feeling they were going to be just close enough to kind of pull back in and kind of still give you guys a run for the money there at the end?
Yeah, exactly. You said it. We were checking out the intervals, and we thought we were gonna clear them, but then we seen some other cars, single cars out there that helped them get the draft us on us. So we just realized they were coming. So we just did our best and stayed hooked up.
Yeah, I mean, you guys again. I mean, the teamwork between you 3. I mean, as always, kind of just is top notch. I say you guys again, the selflessness that we talked about during the broadcasts. Obviously, I say you were probably in a bit of a tough situation there. I say with you leading the field or leading your guys, I should say, at a pit road. You're able to set it up where Sebastian was able to then get back by and take over the point there to get around you and then be the pushy, I guess you could say. But then, of course, that little bit where you then were still ahead of Joe with him being also in the playoff hunts. It's kind of that tough balance there. But I say, while bringing all that up, to say we got to go back to your kind of your pucker moment there on the tri-oval. We did see it. Say apologies for us catching it, but man, what a save! I mean, and it's just tell us. I mean, how difficult is it? I mean, you're just. I mean, at least for me, I mean, I get tunnel vision. I'm staring at the back of these trucks in front of me. You kind of just follow their exact move. I mean, how difficult is it to stay like just kind of picture perfect? And I mean, we know how treacherous that yellow line is, especially through that tri-oval, to kind of just hit your marks inch perfect lap after lap, and just to not have that kind of thing happen.
Yeah, I honestly, that threw me off guard. I didn't even think I was on the yellow. I thought we were going smooth, and I just caught it weird that lap, just I thought I was gonna wreck. Joe thought I blew up, so he didn't lift right away. I didn't really say anything to him because I was more like, oh crap, like what's going on here? But yeah, it was just it was weird that happened, but I got lucky on a save and kept it going.
Yes, I mean, again, with the teamwork, just how well you guys race with one another, it just shows week after week. Obviously everything is looking great there. You get across the line and I think pretty much the whole field wound up losing their 0x for the race. So I think it's going to be kind of a wash on the bonus point side of things there as well. So they won't have to worry about that one. But just an awesome job tonight, man. Started third, finished third, and like I said, I mean, just did everything you could to help your teammates to try to again. Now 2 races in, 2 to go for the championship. So just hats off. I mean, the dedication that you have with your teammates. I say a lot of people, once they're out of the running, they kind of just like, you lose interest in racing these things. But when you've got good friends, good teammates to work with, you guys just do an awesome job of staying with it week in and week out. So congrats, man, on that 3rd place, and definitely want to give you the floor though for any thanks and shouts you'd like to give.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I just want to thank Seabass, Joe being on the team. Congrats on Gabe for the win. And I want to give a special shout out to Steve Korosek. He got me into this SS racing as a team. And Dale Cup is what it is today because of him. Oh, and I want to thank you as well, bro, for the broadcast.
Always a pleasure, Andy. I mean, we got to talk a little bit before the race. You guys make it easy. I feel like with it seems like just week after week, super exciting races. A little bit, obviously, a little bit of strategy with the smaller field here tonight. But once it comes down to crunch time, you guys do what you do best. So, awesome job tonight, man. Definitely enjoyed that result, and we'll got 2 more to go before we get a little bit of a break over the holidays.
Thank you, sir. That's right. I'll be seeing you.
Good racing tonight, Joe.
All right, so now we got to jump over to our 2nd place finisher. That's going to be Sebastian Marin. Again, you can see the damage, unfortunately, to that 23 truck. And so we'll pull Sebastian on here. That truck was pretty much clean and pristine, Sebastian, and then, of course, coming across the line for the checker, everything kind of changed there. I was joking with Zachary there that, pretty much all of you guys were probably looking at 0x races until that checkered flag, and I think all of you guys probably now have a couple incident points to your names there. But I mean, just you guys, everything was looking really good. So that second run, pretty much you had control of the top and bottom lanes with the teammates. I kind of had Gabe pinned there to the inside line. I say everything was looking good. So I'll ask you the same thing I asked Zachary there. If there's any option of doing it over again, would you rather be kind of in the outside line where that one truck was coming to the checkered, or did you feel like the inside line was probably still your best bet there to try to grab that win?
We definitely preferred to be in the middle. It's just when we came out of that last round of pit stops, it was kind of awkward because we came out and there were still some back markers, so they were already passing the back marker, so they're already running the high lane, and we didn't want to really force them to go into the third, so we just stayed low. And by that point, I had opportunities to go high, but I kind of knew that I was going to get split up there in the last 2 laps, so I kind of just had to stay low and pray that either we got the right momentum or something happened, and just one of those races.
I'll say your streak continues of just insane finishes. Say start second, finish second. So if I'm not mistaken, I think this is your second race where you don't get the pole here tonight. So I mean, again, just over the course of the season, just the numbers you've had are just staggering. So I mean, I'll say obviously still got two down now, 2 to go. So I mean, still all to play for, obviously. And I'll say the other thing, of course, I think the one thing I noticed most of was just smaller field here tonight. It's like 20 trucks. I was like not sure, maybe Thanksgiving hangover for some guys, like still feeling the turkey after effects or something. Was there anything that really stood out for you different between tonight and maybe the first playoff race 2 weeks ago?
I think it was mainly, one, it's Daytona, and two, like you said, the field was a tiny bit smaller. So Daytona usually, it's you won't see as 3 wide or as much as aggressive racing since you're so tight. And the reduced pack, it's the runs were kind of smaller, the momentum was less. So overall, it was just a little bit more calm, which I mean, we didn't mind since we were out front, but we always like having a good race.
What's it like to run out front? I do battles with you in the Xfinity side on Sundays. I don't usually get a chance to get up there, but your qualifying is spot on, like every single week.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I barely do Daytona. Every time I come to Daytona and I get the pole, I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I got it, because I know I got Dega dialed in, but Daytona, I kind of just wing it, and you see some weeks I run, stupidly fast, and some weeks I'll still be fast, but, probably not as fast as I want to be.
That's kind of, I think, an interesting point for probably people who aren't so maybe as familiar, is the fact that, I mean, you look at Talladega, Daytona, it's like, okay, yeah, the big difference is one's a little bit of a wider track and a little bit longer at Talladega, but you would think everything you do here, you would do at the other one as well. So it's kind of I think to me especially, I mean, that's pretty eye-opening to find out that it's not an apples to apples thing. So things that maybe work there don't work here, or vice versa. I think, again, just really goes to show how much you guys have to put time into kind of finding those the little things that make the difference between hundreds, thousandths of a second, whatever they may be, to make that difference between, like I said, for qualifying to get that pole position. So, I mean, that's like, to me, that's crazy. Like, I've always like, oh yeah, just foot to the floor, kind of build the momentum up and then get to the bottom, hold the yellow line, kind of keep a steady wheel. But obviously there's a lot more to it than that if you want to be in that position that you are a week after week in qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some things that carry over, obviously, but I mean, the most important thing is just try to scrub the tires the least as possible. That could be either running maybe a different steering ratio box, or entering or coming out of the corners differently than you expect. But yeah, I've been pretty lights out here, but still great trying to finish off the season. And yeah, like you said, it's been a great season, but now in the playoffs, I keep finishing second or third behind Gabe. So
I would love to finish second, Sebastian.
Well, so here I'm gonna say while I have it, I'm gonna pull up his stats for the season just so you can realize how insane it is. So
Okay.
we've been 10 races in. I lied. I apologize. Actually, it's you've had that seems off. So I'm showing 7 poles out of the 10 starts that you've had.
Jesus.
So average start is 1.1. Average finish is 2.0. 5 wins. So basically a 50% win. 50% win percentage of 9 top 5s out of the 10 races, 10 top 10s out of, so every race you've been in the top 10, and then 685 laps completed throughout the season, 154 of those you've led. So I mean, your average starting is 1.1, your average finish is 2 flat. I mean, yeah, just the stats of this season are just phenomenal. I mean, like I said, obviously the playoffs haven't started the way you want to, let's say, but again, you're only halfway through. So let's say us knowing what you're able to do week in, week out, I wouldn't be surprised to see you make that late charge and try to go for that win. Because I think right now it's only a 13-point difference still between you and Gabe.
Yeah, I mean, we say it hasn't started off the way I want to, but I finished, I think, 3rd in the first one and 2nd here tonight. So, it's not like we've had bad finishes. It's just Gabe has finished in front in both. So I'm gonna have to try and beat him. I'm gonna have to equal it out.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I'm sorry. I would love to have your stats. Maybe just one race. You're just far out. You're incredible. I wish I could learn off of you, but that wouldn't be right. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You can always drop by, and we can give you light hints. Obviously, we won't.
I know you don't want to give away all your secrets.
Yeah, but we can definitely help out. Anybody's welcome to Dale Cup. We always hang out in our servers. We do fundraisers from time to time, and we always have a great time there. So
I think I'll accept that invite.
So you'd be getting some good info there for sure, Matt. But Sebastian, just awesome job tonight, man. Say before we let you go, though, of course, as always, definitely want to give you the floor. Any thanks and shouts that I could give for that runner-up spot tonight.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Del Cup. Obviously, my teammates Joe, Zach, Steve, who obviously isn't racing anymore, but he's always great help, and he helped me a lot to become the play racer that I am now. You guys for putting on this great broadcast, and Area 51/TW for putting on this great league.
All right, we had 2 down, 2 to go, so look forward to seeing you in those next 2 races. So enjoy this one, Sebastian. We'll look forward to seeing you finish up the season here with probably, like I said, knowing you, probably a pretty solid finish up of it all.
Yeah, man, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, that leaves us one driver left to chat with, and man, that truck is looking rough compared to what it looked like before he crossed the finish line. That's going to be that number 1 truck, and actually a little bit of nose damage. We're going to pull in our race winner in that number 1 truck. Snatched the pole away tonight. I say that's been a tough one for you to be able to get those poles here throughout the season. But I say, now looking at your truck here, Gabe, that thing wasn't in perfect condition there. You got a little bit of a nose/hood crinkle there. I mean, I guess I must have missed it. When did that all happen, and how much was that affecting you over that last run there?
Well, the wreck of the finish did the most damage, and then myself and Joe, we kind of doored each other, but it didn't affect the truck at all.
Yeah, it might be a little bit of a hiccup on iRacing side, but I'm seeing a little bit of nose damage coming to the white flag. So it might be a glitch on my /iRacing side. So it might be all for naught there. But I mean, the race itself, though, it was definitely not one that was an easy one for you tonight. You had a little bit of everything. Obviously, starting on pole, that's what you wanted to have. You had some good help there at one point. You had JD Crow that you worked so well with him. Then unfortunately, that first set of pit stops, you lose your help there. And then the second pit stops, you and Charles Johnson go that extra lap, but then it's really tight for you guys to be able to grab that draft back. I think got a little bit of help from, I can't remember if it was Seth or Patrick Groover, but able to grab their draft and then pull back up to that lead pack. I mean, and then of course that last stop there, you guys short pit a couple laps there to try to maybe throw the Dale Cup guys off guard to get that momentum and get back to the front. And I think most importantly, it looks like giving you guys that middle lane. It seemed like that was really, I think, the difference maker between maybe getting the win and finishing second tonight.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I was getting a great push from Charles there for the last number of laps, and like I said, myself and Joe doored each other, and that's probably where I got that small bit of damage. But obviously didn't hurt the truck. And then Seth got in behind me. He was a lap down, but he kept plugging away, and he was able to get me around Sebastian and take the win.
So yeah, so one thing I mentioned, say, well, I'll say I'll put this on you because I feel like with say with that O2 truck, I'm not sure if it's something that you've worked with before now or something you expected to work with tonight, but he might be expecting or needing a Christmas card in his future from you in that one truck here to help shove you to that win here tonight.
Oh, of course. But I'll have to double it because they're twins. So whatever one gets, the other has to get too. So
That's true. I mean, you got to keep it fair because that only goes so far.
Don't want to upset mom either.
That's true, and I say mom was in here on YouTube. She was definitely staying active. So you never want to get on the bad side of mom as well in these races. But I mean, so I guess the main one I have, of course, we were joking about the most of the trucks maybe had a clean race going into that final lap. Then of course coming across the line, everybody squeezed that a little bit tighter, and then unfortunately just the contact, possibly net code. We didn't look at it super close, but just let's say at that point everybody's along for the ride there. So maybe in the end kind of all washes out to kind of be equal there. But I think the biggest part was that second pit stop where you and Charles Johnson, like I said, he was just working with you as hard as he could there to be able to try to get you back to that lead pack. How tense was it to knowing how aggressive he had to draft you, and of course then you had to try to keep your line smooth and work with him, that maybe some of you don't race with like that close proximity week in and week out, used to of course having some of your teammates and such. How worried were you that maybe you weren't gonna be able to make that happen to get back up to those Dale Cup guys?
I'm not worried about Charles pushing one bit. I mean, he's been around a long time. He hadn't raced in a while. He might be a little bit rusty, but he did a hell of a job. And like I said earlier, we did catch Seth's draft there, which dragged us up a little bit more. But I mean, we were pretty lined up pretty good. And once we caught Seth, then we had a massive run, and it wasn't a problem catching him after that. But I don't, in all honesty, if Seth wasn't there, I'm not sure if we would have caught him or not. Just two of us, I doubt it.
Well, so you've had a great start to the season before the playoffs. I say for you being you, that's maybe a good regular season. But man, once playoff times kicked off, I mean, it's just been almost like you've put it into another gear here. So it kind of reminds me of the Sunday Super Speedway series where it was pretty much the Gabe Butler show. I mean, does it feel like on your side too that things have just either maybe gone your way better, or like is there anything different on your end that maybe you're doing that's been helping you? Or I mean, is it just, what do you feel like is the difference between maybe finishing, let's say, second or third versus getting these two in a row now to start off the playoffs?
Well, number one, you got to bring your A game to the playoffs, and I mean, you're racing these Dale Cup guys, so they're pretty tight. They hook up with ease, and I mean, they're just tough to beat. And I just happen to get lucky, from time to time, and with my teammates or some other guys that happen to be behind me, just push and end up getting the result. So, I mean, the playoffs are a little bit different. I'm not normally aggressive by nature driving, but when it comes to the playoffs, I kind of got to pinch a little bit harder and be a little bit more aggressive on the pit entries and stuff like that. So but like I said, those guys are just really hard to beat, and when you do, it's a plus. And so it's kind of good feels good getting 2 wins in the first 2 races. So
Yeah, so you get obviously 2 down, 2 to go. I think a 13-point lead if my numbers were right over Sebastian Marin. So obviously, I say it's nice to a little bit of a comfort. But obviously, I know not enough to feel comfortable going into the next 2 because obviously anything can happen in these ones. So, but like you said, though, obviously a great way to kick things off here with the next 2 being at Talladega to finish off the season. But yeah, just awesome job tonight, man. I say, like I said, put yourself in the right spot, got the friends you needed to help you out at the end. And just say it was all kind of came together tonight to get that win here. Like I said, 2 in a row for for the playoffs, I say it's definitely the way you want to start things off here. So before we let you go, though, definitely want to give you the floor. Any thanks and shouts you'd like to give for getting that win here tonight?
Well, you know, you can't do it by yourself on these plate tracks, and any driver will tell you that. And just a big shout out to Charles there for the help the last half of the race, and Seth there for the push at the end and the last few laps. Did a fabulous job. And of course, the rest of the guys that I was racing with tonight had a bit of bad luck. Bud, Eric, and JD. But maybe they'll bounce back next week, and we can stay hooked up and challenge again.
Yeah, just awesome job again, Matt. Gabe, get in that win. It was, like I said, as always, a blast to watch you guys. It's saying kind of crazy. The top 3 finishers, exactly where you guys started the race off as well. So I enjoyed this one. So like I said, 2 more to go before we finish things off for the season. Before we get to that Christmas New Year's break as well. So I enjoy this one, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the last 2 races of the season, sir.
All right, guys, and thanks for the great broadcast again, and shout out to Area 51 also. Appreciate it, fellas.
Thank you, Gabe. Good job again.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, that is our race winner in that number 1 truck of Gabe Butler. So Matt, I say as always, really appreciate you hopping in here late notice. To say, unfortunately, lost my partner in crime, but he got to do some real racing. So I say I'm never going to take anybody away from that. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get the lowdown from him. Hopefully next week he can join me and he can kind of give me the debrief of how that all went. But yeah, man. I mean, I'll say again, slightly smaller count tonight with the 20 trucks versus what we've seen before. But we go caution free here tonight, and I'll say, as always, a super exciting finish at the end. But yeah, 2 in a row for Gabe to kick off the playoffs here. I said Sebastian was just on a roll during the regular season, and it's crazy to think that might be honestly a little bit disappointed with the second place finish here tonight. Just the way he's been. It's I know, and that's exactly in my mindset too. It's like that's just how talented these guys are. Where a second place is like, man, if not for XYZ, you know, it's wild. So
yeah.
But yeah, Matt, thanks so much. I say it's definitely a pleasure having you for that last half of the race or so.
Oh yeah, thank you.
And yeah, also I'll definitely grab you in here more as we can. Everybody that was watching, thank you so much for supporting us here at Green White Checker TV with Area 51. Like I said, season's just about done with us for all of the series. I say 4 races throughout the course of the week. But then we'll have a little break during the Christmas New Year's break. Then we'll be going back strong again in January. So definitely keep an eye at area51iracing.com. And as always, though, happy Friday Eve. Hopefully you've all had a wonderful week back to reality after Thanksgiving break. And so, yeah, so we'll be back with Max Speed TV on Sunday night for the Super Speedway Series. And then, of course, on Monday night for the Next Gens. And then we'll be back on Tuesday with with Green White Checker TV for the Dark Horse Racing Area 51 Indy Series. So coming to the finale of those last 2 races over there as well. So until then, Matt, as always, again, thank you so much. Everybody, thank you for watching. And I look forward to seeing you guys in a few more races to finish up the season. Until then, though, have a good night, everyone.
Good night, guys.